What is up, everybody? Welcome to the StatShark Sports Show. I'm your host, Sport Report MD. We had a week of interesting games last week, and as we go into week 7 here, we have some division rivalries and a few other real interesting ones coming up. Last week we looked at the quarterback position. This week we look at the guys that they're throwing it to as we look at 5 wide receivers. So let's get into this week's picks. The first receiver we're looking at this week is Drake London of the Falcons. Our proprietary projection system has him at 68 yards. The line this week is set at 46.5, so on that line we are taking the over. Drake London just finished his second career 100-yard game with a career-high 125 receiving yards last week. This week they are facing off against the Buccaneers, who give up about 40 passing attempts per game and almost 250 receiving yards. That figures to fare well for the passing offense of the Falcons and Drake London, so that is why this week we are taking the over. The second receiver we're looking at this week is Seattle's DK Metcalf. Our projection system has him at 62 yards. The line this week is set at 57.5, so on that line we are taking the over. Metcalf hasn't had any extremely dominant performances, so to speak, this year, but he has cleared 57 yards in 3 of their 5 games so far. This week they play against the Cardinals. They give up approximately 240 passing yards per game. With the run game for Seattle being so strong, they are going to keep defenses honest in terms of, run-pass balance. That's going to fare well for DK. Hopefully he gets his targets, and that is why we are taking the over. Our next receiver we're looking at is the Bills' Stephon Diggs. Our proprietary projection system has him at 101 yards. The line is set at 83.5, and on that we are taking the over. This is basically a no-brainer. Through 6 games this year, Stephon Diggs has cleared triple digits in 5 of those contests. They are playing the Patriots, who have a decent pass game, but as far as Stephon Diggs being one of the best, if not arguably the best receiver in the league, they're not going to have all of the defensive power necessary to stop him, so that is why we are taking the over. The next receiver we're looking at this week is Keenan Allen of the Chargers. Our projection system has him at 86 yards. The line is set at 77.5, so on that we are taking the over. Keenan has cleared 77 yards in 3 of 5 games so far this season. This week they will face off against the Kansas City Chiefs. Anytime these two teams get together, it tends to be a high-scoring affair with a lot of passing. That translates well for Keenan Allen. Look for him to probably have a lot of targets, which hopefully translates into a decent amount of yards, and that is why we are taking the over. And the last receiver we're looking at this week is the Vikings' Jordan Addison. Our projection system has him at 56 yards. The line has been set at 48.5. So, for the 5th and final time this week, we are taking the over. There's not a lot to go off of in terms of Addison's stats. He only has 6 career games. However, he has cleared the 48-yard mark in 4 of those 6 games. He's not going to be one of those receivers that necessarily will get you 100 yards per game, but he can confidently get you 55 to 70, which is exactly what we're looking for here. So that is why we are taking the over. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of the StatShark Sports Show. Be sure to check us out on all social media platforms. Like, subscribe, and share. You can check us out on YouTube, where we put out our weekly show here. You can also find us on a Discord, where for $8.49 a month you have access to our player props, our premium picks, and our daily fantasy sports analytics. What kind of subscription can you get for that price that not only brings you great sports content, but also helps you win money? I'm your host, Sport Report MD. Remember, with StatShark, you can bet with more bite. Until next week, have a good one.